Most people think LV just sells fancy bags and belts. But that's only the surface. When you look at how much money flows through its fashion and leather goods every single year, over $40 billion, you start to see that LV is less a shop and more a money machine built on one quiet idea. By the end of this video, you'll understand how that idea works, why people happily line up to pay premium prices again and again, and how this brand turns simple leather into one of the biggest cash engines in luxury. We'll start with where LV came from, then see how it secretly shapes desire today, and finally what that means for you every time you walk past that brown and gold logo. Every day, people walk past an LV store, see a bag in the window, and instantly feel something. Not just that's nice, but that means something. In simple words, LV is a company that puts its name on bags, clothes, and accessories, then asks people to pay a lot for them. That's it. Bags and logos. Very basic. But when millions of people, in dozens of countries, all agree that one logo is worth so much extra money, something bigger is happening. It quietly shapes who feels important, who feels rich, and who feels left out. You can see it in airports, malls, and high streets around the world. The same monogram pattern, the same brown trunks, the same queues outside the door. It doesn't matter if the economy is slowing or headlines say luxury is in trouble. LV still sits at the top of brand rankings and remains the crown jewel inside LV's fashion empire. So here's the strange part. These are bags you can't eat, can't live in, and don't really need to survive. Yet people will save for months, even take on debt, just to own one. It looks like simple shopping, but it isn't. To understand how a label stitched onto leather became worth tens of billions a year, you have to go back to when it wasn't a luxury logo at all. Because it didn't start in glass boxes and red carpets. Back at the beginning, LV wasn't a status symbol at all. It started as a small workshop in 19th century France trying to solve a simple problem: how to help rich travelers carry their things without everything getting crushed and soaked on long journeys. The brand focused on making flat, sturdy trunks that stacked neatly instead of the old rounded chests that rolled around. For early customers, this wasn't about flexing on anyone. It was about making travel easier and safer when trains and ships were the main way to move across countries. Those early trunks were carefully made, tough, and different from what people were used to. Over time, wealthy travelers began to notice that if you saw someone with one of these trunks, you could guess they had money, taste, and places to go. A simple travel tool quietly became a signal. Then something important happened. As more copycats appeared, LV didn't just protect its designs with laws. It started printing a special pattern on the trunks and bags so everyone could tell, from far away, this one is real. That pattern, the canvas, the monogram, the repeated symbols, wasn't just decoration. It was a lock. This small move changed everything. The product was still a box or a bag, but now there was a second layer, a visual code that told the world what you owned and who you were trying to be. Over decades, as LV expanded from trunks into handbags, luggage, and then full fashion, that code followed along. What began as a clever way to stop fakes slowly turned into the real product, a recognizable mark that could be stamped on almost anything and still feel luxury. And once a brand can sell a feeling, not just an object, it can grow far beyond the workshop where it started. So if a recognizable mark is the real product, the next question is, how exactly does LV keep that mark feeling so valuable year after year, across decades? Because most brands that get famous eventually get ordinary. LV never did. That's not an accident. Here's how it works, in plain terms. First, LV almost never discounts. While most brands run sales, seasonal offers, and clearance events to move stock, LV quietly refuses. No outlet stores, no Black Friday deals, no 50% off banners. When you can't buy something cheaper by waiting, the price itself becomes part of the product. Your brain reads expensive and always will be, as this must be worth it. Then comes the second step. They make you feel like you're choosing them, not the other way around. Long wait lists, limited releases, items you can only buy in-store, in specific cities. The moment you have to work a little to get something, you value it more. That's not a coincidence built into how the products are made. It's built into how they're sold. Because of both these things, something quietly loops. Every new person who buys LV adds to the signal. More celebrities, more airport sightings, more social media. The logo keeps appearing in places that feel aspirational. That visibility makes the next person want it more. The brand feeds its own demand without running a single discount. Now here's where most people's thinking breaks down. You'd assume LV makes its money from the craftsmanship, the leather, the stitching, the quality. But studies on luxury brand margins suggest the premium customers pay sits far above material and production costs. What they're actually paying for is the story attached to the object, heritage, exclusivity, and the silent signal it sends to every person in the room. And once a brand controls a story that well, it doesn't just sell bags. It sells belonging to an idea. After decades of running this quietly, the results start showing up in places you wouldn't expect. Not just in balance sheets and brand rankings, but in real moments between real people. Picture a young woman in Shanghai, first year at a new job, walking into a client meeting with an LV bag she saved 6 months for. She doesn't say a word about it. She doesn't have to. The room notices, something shifts, and the meeting feels just slightly different than it would have otherwise. Was it the bag? Was it her confidence carrying it? She isn't sure. Neither is anyone else. That's the point. Now picture a teenager in Mumbai scrolling through his feed at midnight, watching a travel vlog where someone casually sets an LV tote on a hotel bed in Paris. He pauses, screenshots it, doesn't know why. He can't afford it, won't be able to for years, and knows it. But he keeps watching, keeps noticing, keeps the idea somewhere in the back of his head. He has now spent 5 minutes of his attention on a brand that spent 0 on him. That's the machine running in both directions at the same time. On one side, a smaller group of buyers who get a sense of status, arrival, and reward. On the other, a much larger group who can't buy in yet, but keep the signal alive anyway. Reposting, referencing, aspiring. LV never asked either group to do this. It just built a symbol powerful enough that both groups couldn't ignore it. And the strange thing sitting underneath all of this, neither group is buying a bag. One is buying a feeling of having made it. The other is buying the dream that they will. The coated canvas and the brass hardware are almost beside the point. So if the bag was never really the product, what exactly did $40 billion worth of people actually buy? They bought permission. Permission to feel like they've finally made it. The bag is just the physical receipt to prove it to everyone else. But that brings us to the actual secret, the $40 billion trick that makes this entire machine run. Most companies try to sell more by lowering prices. LV did the exact opposite. Their ultimate secret is that they never, ever discount. There is no sale rack, no Black Friday. If a bag doesn't sell, they essentially delete it rather than mark it down. Why? Because the moment you put a discount tag on status, it stops being status. The secret isn't even the material. Their most famous bags are often coated canvas, not even leather. The secret is certainty. They figured out that people will pay 10 times the cost, as long as you guarantee that nobody else will ever get it for less. That is the engine. They turned a patterned canvas into a battery that runs on human emotion. The people who can't afford it power the battery by wanting it. The people who can afford it pay a massive premium just to hold it. So what do you do when you walk past that store window? The first step is to notice the game. The next time you feel that pull toward the logo, pause. Ask yourself, am I buying a bag to carry things? Or am I paying a fee to rent a feeling of importance? Once you see the trick, the spell breaks. You realize you don't need a logo to prove your worth to strangers. The most expensive thing LV ever created wasn't a trunk. It was the illusion that you need them to be somebody. And the best part about an illusion is that you can simply choose to stop believing in it.